All right. So beginning the pre-talk for our follow-up session, you mentioned that there are a couple of specific things you want to address, and that I cut you off and I was like, let's record. You mentioned that something has already been coming in and it's related to the first session. So I'll stop interrupting you now.
Yeah, no. So first, the ability to not lean into alcohol. And I think just to recap the first session, I wasn't a binge drinker at all, but it was just habitual. And I used it a lot to unwind when I was on shift. And so, you get back and you're exhausted, and you can see why a lot of people do, but it's just, you look at the physiology and you realize that alcohol makes your sleep even worse. So it's actually compounding the problem. And so since we've talked, it's been slow, but I've been able to put bigger and bigger and bigger periods between each time I've been drinking. And right now I'm on a run where I just don't want it at the moment, which is excellent. Which also factors into the book writing. So I want to kind of just reinforce that. It's going really well. I mean, I'm getting up and doing a movement practice, and then meditating every morning, journaling, and then walking my dog, which is my time in nature, and then getting on with my day, which is awesome. So I've created space and done self-work. But the big thing, because we kind of looked into, elements of possible trauma last time, but I think with this one, the biggest barrier is creative. And I know obviously, Ken and yourself have discussed performance stuff a lot as well. I've got this multi-generational book, which we touched on last time. And because it spans about 100 years, I'm trying to find that thing, that vehicle that I can lead the reader through from present day all the way back through to the 1940s, and then walk back through again. All the building blocks are there. I haven't written beautiful prose or anything yet, but the story's there, the concept's there, the why is there, but it's that thread that ties everything together that I'm still trying to figure out. So I was hoping that this might kind of drop some walls and open up my creativity a little bit more.
Okay, I want to make sure that I wrote this down correctly. So basically you have all of the bones of the book, right?
Yes.
And so the issue is that you need a vehicle to start at present day, but then go back to the 1940s and then track yourself back to present day. Yes?
Yeah, because right now each piece has value, but why should the person care? And also, how is the person able to see 50, 80, 100 years ago? So, and we talked the other day about, using psychedelics, hypnotherapy, etc. But one of my author friends who I trust very much had said, well, be careful not to lean too far into the kind of sci-fi stuff, because then you'll lose the reader, and it's a very raw, real story. So I want to use, some of these components, but by maybe relying on that to go through this entire journey, you're gonna lose the reader a little bit. So there's got to be something else that can, I can add in that would be more believable, that this person will be able to see, what their ancestors have been doing and how that's impacted them in modern day.
And do you want them to be able to tap into that first person experience?
Yeah. So
the main
I think
character, sorry, the main character, that they tap into
so that
the person experience.
Each of these generations, I really do want them, you're looking through that main character's eyes, whether it's the grandson, the father, or the grandfather. So in a way that you're not kind of, talking third person, but you're actually living it through that character's eyes. I think that's what makes it, important. So, which is a hard thing to do, because how does a human live through other human beings' eyes? So, I mean, there are ways it's been done, but again, without getting too deep into fantasy or sci-fi, or even though, as we discussed last time, it's not fantasy to some people. I'm trying to grab your average person who maybe just that will be too clunky for them, and they'll lose the journey then.
Okay. And does it start off with the grandson, and the grandson then tracks back to the grandfather, and then the father, and then back to the grandson's present time?
Yeah, so I think the way it would unfold best is you start modern day, then you wind back, and the goal is initially you wind back and you just see the faults. But then when you get to origin story, you're like, oh, and then you wind forward again. Now, a lot of prejudices that that are ingrained in society, it's getting people to question them, because now they're like, oh, I see why this person became in this situation, because that was what happened to them when they were younger, for example. So yeah, the goal is to start present day, kind of walk backwards in time, and then walk forward again. And then there's going to be an opening scene that will also tie into kind of like the closing scene as well.
Okay. And then you said this sentence, and I think it's a really important sentence, and I want to make sure I understand exactly who we are referring to. You said, why should the person care? Do you mean the grandson, or do you mean the reader?
The reader.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, if you just drop a bunch of short stories on the floor, they might be compelling in themselves, but what ties them together? What makes the person care about the protagonist, the modern day person, enough to go on that journey with them all the way back.
Okay. These are really good questions. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, like I said, I've been picking people's brains and doing everything they've told me, but there's that thing. And once I crack that thing, then this will all come together. And I want to get this written. I've got a fundraiser I do every year. It's like a fitness challenge for firefighters, and they raise funds, and then they also create awareness for the 343 firefighters we lost in 9/11, and that's September 9th. So that's my goal, to get this book finished. Doesn't mean that it's edited and everything, but I want to get it written. So that's just under 2 months from now. So it's a good solid amount of time. I'm not screwing myself with that, but at least giving myself a deadline to start working towards.
Yeah. Well, and also my book, Cornflower, I had the exact same issue where I had to figure out what was the vehicle to tie together all of these amazing sessions that I had received. And it was the exact same issue. How do I start it? And then how do we go from here to here to here? So I completely understand. And I know the relief of when it finally comes in and you're just like, oh, of course. And that's perfect.
And this is why I think this is going to be awesome, because I think it's just a case of, well, what about this? And then you're like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How is there ever a question? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to double check when we were talking a few days or weeks, time is weird. We were speaking recently, and you mentioned that you wanted to understand a bit more about the middle generation. Is that still something we should ask about in the session, or no, you got it?
It's become less important now.
Okay.
Yeah, because I interviewed a guy that was actually there in one of the events that I talk about, but really, I think the most time will be on the origin story, and then the modern day one. So the middle one doesn't need to go too deeply. So one of my ideas is that this grandson, the grandfather's still alive in some retirement home somewhere, and he's able to access sit down with him and talk to him, and maybe that grandfather is then able to relive what happened and kind of story tell it to him, even though sadly because of time he's going to be extremely old by this point. But there are some 100-year-olds that are very articulate still. So I'm sure we use a little poetic license. But yeah, the middle one I think is it's a rung of the ladder that's important, and it addresses some areas that I want to weave in, and it highlights a part of British history that's kind of forgotten today. So yeah, it has importance, but not as much as the origin one is going to because it's a true story. It's going to blow people's minds. But then, the modern day ones obviously is, that's the ripple effect. That's the domino. Is it going to fall, or is it going to finally break the cycle?
Okay, love it. All right. And then you said a really nice phrase that ties into the first goal that you mentioned. The phrase you said during last call was that you really want to calm your mind. And when you say calm your mind, you mean have that very focused and flow state. So I'm going to use those words if you don't mind. Is that good?
Absolutely. Yep.
And you also said reinforcing healthy decisions. So
yeah. And again, I mean, as a testimony while recording this, it's already so much better than it was then. So my mind is clearer, my decisions are better. So, we're already making progress.
I'm very happy to hear it. Isn't it nice? It's so liberating.
It is, especially, I mean, I think there's probably a lot of people out there that have been putting in the work, but it's not worked as well as they'd hoped. There's you kind of swimming upstream against the chaos. There's a lot of things. So yeah, it's nice just to kind of find the tracks again for a bit.
For the long term.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else that we should discuss before we go in? Do you want to use the bathroom? Are you good to go?
I'm good to go, I think, this time. Yeah, I used just before, but yeah, I think the continuing to calm the mind is a direct correlation with wanting to reach for a drink, and because it's ultimately probably low level anxiety, but then that same thing ties into the ability to write. The clearer my mind, the less alcohol I've consumed, the better I've slept, the more chance there is for the kind of clarity that I need to pull this all together.
Okay, excellent. So you probably remember the prep talk from before, which is basically just self-advocate anything that you need, including if there is a sudden need for a bathroom break because some good releasing was happening. Just let me know and I'll be a good teammate to you. So you feel ready to begin?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and close my eyes along with you. And beginning to enjoy the feeling of having your eyes closed. And beginning to focus on your breathing, which should be deep and regular, from way down to way up. And as you're taking those nice, deep, relaxing breaths, go ahead and begin to really feel, really enjoy the peaceful energy that flows in with each in-breath. Beginning to really feel, really enjoy the soul energy, the spirit guide energy that flows in more and more with each in-breath. And with each exhaling breath, beginning to really feel, really enjoy the feeling of letting go, releasing, relaxing, more and more with each out breath. As you continue to enjoy those nice, deep, relaxing breaths, go ahead and from your heart, invite in a really warm, loving, protecting energy. And this energy of protection may have a color, maybe a light, may feel warm as it begins to flow from the top of your head all the way down your entire body, all the way down to the tips of your toes, so that your entire body is filled, bathed with this warm, loving, protecting energy. So much so that you begin to glow and radiate a halo of protection all the way around your entire body as you get to enjoy feeling so calm, so relaxed, so peaceful, and so protected. And as you continue to enjoy that wonderful feeling, go ahead and from your heart, send out an invitation, a request to your soul, your guides, all of your spirit friends, just letting them know these words from your heart. I am open and I am ready for the wonderful energy, the creative inspiration, the helpful guidance, all of the calm and flow. I am open and I am ready. And taking your time, there is never any rush. You just let me know when that invitation feels complete.
Feels complete.
Good. So we're going to do something really fun and we'll just see what happens. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and from your heart, invite in a really warm, loving, beautiful being with wings. It may be a bird or a butterfly, an angel, a fairy, or a dragon, or something different that shows up. Inviting in now a really beautiful being with wings. And you just let me know who shows up and how they show up whenever you're ready. Take your time.
Like last time, my German Shepherd I lost with wings. The loophole.
Is Nini here again?
He's here again.
Hi, Nini. I'm going to sit quietly. Enjoy your time together, and you just let me know what's happening whenever you're ready. Have fun.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
Good.
How's Nene?
She's it's funny, it's just like she presses into me like she used to.
It's really
That
sweet.
closeness.
Is she gonna stay with us on the adventure, or is she just here to say hi real quick?
I don't know. I think she's probably gonna stay.
Awesome.
I don't know if I can like visualize her specifically, but she's where she wants to be, which is by my side.
That's really nice. And before we move on to the other topics, let's just ask her, is there anything else that she wants to share with you? Maybe information, maybe energy, maybe another snuggle, but let's just see if she wants to share anything else before we change topics a little bit.
I almost get a sense that she's happy where she is now.
Yeah. Do you want to take a moment and really feel that?
Okay.
Let me know if you and Nini like this idea, but we have a couple different places to go where we could start. We could start with the book, or we could start with continuing to feel really calm and peaceful and releasing alcohol. Do you want to ask her if the book is in, let's say, the left direction and the staying calm is in the right direction? Do you want to ask her which way she wants to go, left or right?
It's definitely right.
Okay. Nini, do you want to take the lead and take him to where he's going to receive the best guidance, the best energy to keep that really calm mind?
Leading me, but I haven't really got to anywhere like specific yet.
What is it like where you are?
Almost like one of those kaleidoscopes when you turn it and the shapes change. It's dark, but there's kind of reds and oranges kind of expanding and contracting.
Yeah. Is it like a portal or different?
Ironically, it almost feels like some of those incredible video images of child in vitro, kind of, again, that kind of red, opaque red sensation that, a child would probably see the light permeating through their mother's skin. It's like that sensation.
I've never seen this before. So you said like in vitro or in utero?
Um, I guess in utero. Yes,
Yeah,
that would be the
yeah.
right term, isn't it? Yeah,
Okay. Oh, interesting. Shall we follow this thread?
absolutely.
Okay, so let's find out, is this like in utero or is it actually in utero?
I feel like it actually is.
And let's find out, is it from when you or a baby, or are you tapping into a different experience?
I think it's a different experience. I'm kind of not getting a very strong image, but I don't know if it's me or not.
Shall we find out?
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and take a few nice, deep, relaxing breaths. And just have your heart connect with the energy, the heart of the little baby. And let's just feel, who is this? Maybe it'll be somebody that you know specifically. Maybe it'll be different. But let's just find out, heart to heart, who is this baby?
Yeah, I'm not getting a sense. I've almost getting like faces of like anime characters, which is really weird. My son watches them a lot. But I'm
Session
not getting,
2. Yeah, go on.
as I'm saying, I'm not getting a sense of who that is. But it's almost like they're getting glimpses of outside, and then
Mhm.
it slows down again. So
Yeah.
it's
Session 2
possible it
is
could
one,
even be my
so.
son.
What?
It's possible it could even be my son, but I wouldn't say that was, definite.
Yeah, let's find out a little bit more. Is Nini still with you?
Yeah, I can feel her energy. Yeah,
Is it okay if I ask her a question directly?
absolutely.
Hey, Nini, I know that you've got great senses. Who is this baby? Can you tell James and he'll tell me?
Yeah, I'm getting a sense it's my son. It's Ty.
Okay. I know you probably can't hear it, but every time I talk to Nini, a dog starts barking in the background, which is great. So let's find out more about why, of all the places that she could have taken you, she took you to when Ty was in utero. Shall we find out?
Yeah.
Nini, why? Why this memory of all the things?
I definitely saw a baby face then. Right when you were asking, and the thought that came into my mind was that was an opportunity to raise a child as best as I possibly could, coming from not a terrible childhood by any means, but we all have our things. It's almost like this was the opportunity to do something right, you know, to try and mold the child into a strong, kind human being. I'm not again seeing that, but that's kind of the sense I'm getting. Like this was a fresh opportunity, a different life completely that you are now responsible for.
Yeah. How does that feel?
You got almost, you know, fear, anxiety, but excitement at the same time. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity as long as you don't screw it up.
So Nini, all of this is very beautiful. Can you help us to understand how it connects to James and him staying really calm and in that flow state, that focused state?
Again, it's not clear, but I'm almost, as he's about to turn 16, getting this sense of, now obviously you put him first, you know, before everything. That is the center of your world. But I think it's, if we're pulling out that, calming that mind is to kind of let go some of that parental anxiety. Like, you know, he's a young man now, and to maybe let some of that go. Not apron string so much, just the anxieties were warranted. I mean, he's been through some things as a young man, as a little boy. I think it's, you know, allowing them to conclude, and then each one of those that you can let go is one less anxiety, I suppose, one less ping pong ball in the monkey mind.
What do you think about sending him a lot of protection and then letting those nervousness things that are meant to conclude, letting them conclude after we send him a lot of protection? Do you want to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So what's interesting is when I talk about sending nice energy to other people, I always use a garden hose analogy. We'll use a fire hose for you. And what's nice about channeling any kind of energy, but in this case, protection energy from the universe or the spirit realm through you and to the other person, think of it like a hose where you don't have to generate it yourself. You're just the channel that directs the energy. And what's also really nice is just like the hose gets wet with the water, you can also receive that really nice protection energy as part of sending that out to him. Do you want to do that?
Yes, please.
Feel free to have fun with it. You can throw in love energy, you can throw in wisdom, responsibility energy, whatever you think would be really helpful for him. You can mix those things together. You want to?
Yes.
All right. So again, allowing the universe to create that energy for him, and then through your heart, channel that in his direction. Just really enjoy it and do that until it feels complete. Take your time.
Okay.
How does that feel?
It was good. Almost got a little emotional. Some
Aw.
kind of guilt stuff flooded in.
Ready to let that go?
I think I did. But I mean, we can do some more, definitely.
Okay, let's go ahead and do it in order. Let's conclude the worries about him that you really don't need to hold on to. And so we'll conclude the worries and then we'll make sure all of the guilt is released. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So just open up to knowing that these are worries that really are totally unnecessary. They're not helpful. So just invite a full releasing of any of those concerns. You just let me know when that release feels complete.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
You good?
Ready to release the guilt all the way?
Yes.
Okay. So any lingering guilt, knowing that it doesn't help, go ahead and release that all the way.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
Good. It's interesting just seeing some of those emotions kind of burning. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. Before we go into the next topic, let's ask, are there any other emotions that are not helpful that you're meant to release?
I think there's some anger as well from the same kind of incident that the guilt came from. It's also, you know, non-productive.
Ready to release it fully?
Yes.
Yeah. So go ahead and invite that full release to begin and take your time. Just let me know when it's complete.
Yeah, it's dampened a bit. It's going to take more than one session to stop me being angry about that thing, though. So that'll be a work in progress.
Do you want to hear a really nice technique that can help a lot as well?
Yeah.
So let's find out what percentage, so out of 100%, what percentage did you let go of?
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time. What percentage?
What percentage of the anger did you just let go of? So out of 100%, what percent was just released?
Probably only about 20 or 30.
That's pretty good. And so I'm wondering if you like this idea, would you be okay with really easily releasing more and more in the background? So as you're sleeping, for example, that when you're on a nature walk with your dog, that you're not even trying, it's just flowing out of you. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And pretty soon you're gonna feel really good. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. And so is there anything more about your son or anything from the past or your emotions?
I don't think so. That seems to have been the main stuff today.
Okay. And so Nini is quite clever. It just dawned on me what she was doing. So she helped you and then also had a fun little wink as far as generations.
Yeah.
She took you to a generational situation, which I find to be very interesting.
Yeah. No, I was thinking the same thing. I just interviewed someone yesterday and she was talking about multi-generational trauma and epigenetics. And she was a skeptic. But she said, you have a mother exposed to trauma. So she's kind of dealing with the trauma of her situation, her parents, but then she's pregnant, her unborn child is also exposed to that. But then in the unborn child as a female, they're born with the eggs that one day they will reproduce with. So technically you've got 3 generations all in that one moment. And I think that's kind of, I found that fascinating yesterday, but I think it definitely kind of tapped into that in this experience too.
Yeah. Well, shall we? It's up to you, but is this a good time to segue into the book topic? Okay. Nini, do you want to take the lead on this one again? Let's just see what she does.
She shot left.
Let's go. Let me know what you're experiencing whenever you're ready. Take your time.
Yeah, I feel like she took me right back to the 1940s, that origin location.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a happy time at that moment, quite the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Take your time, explore. Let's find out why she took you there.
Hmm. Interesting. There's almost a sense of starting the story from the present day and the origin story, but with no understanding they're connected until the end. Huh. Different way I haven't thought about before.
I just got goosebumps. It's pretty cool.
Mhm.
How do you feel about it?
I mean, it's a totally new way of thinking. It'll make me let go of some of the anchors of some of the things that I want the book to be about. But at the same time, it still can be. It would just be in a different lens. But I mean, the way I'm seeing it now would allow you to follow through, one origin character and then one modern day character and then they intersect. Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely given me something to think about, something new.
You want to ask for any helpful details so that you don't have to sort through it later. You can just find out now.
I don't know what details I'll even ask for. It's almost like the door is open and I have to kind of walk through and explore creatively with that work. But I've had this sense that it needs to start modern day and then go back, but it doesn't need to start modern day.
Yeah.
And you can still, you don't have to tell the whole story, but you can start in the past and then return for the big reveal, as it were.
Is the middle generation still an important piece?
It's a piece. It's still less important than the other two, but it's definitely a stepping stone. It's the excuse me, when you want to end this session. it's
I
the,
like the yawns. It means you're releasing something. That's good.
yeah, I was wondering that. Yeah, it's the gangplank between, each kind of foundational element. So yeah, I mean, if there was no middle generation, then that modern day person would have a different experience. So it's an important step, but it can be summarized in a much shorter amount of time.
I could be wrong. And so just discard this if it's not helpful. But the middle generation character, the father, could be a very clever bridge between the two. I don't really want to say what I'm thinking because I don't want to plant the seed that you don't want in there, but do you want me to say it?
Yeah, no, please plant as well, Trust me,
Discard
I'll
it if it
lop the head
doesn't
off
work.
every time.
If the father is having conversations or connections or memories or whatever it may be about his father, but then also about his son, but we don't know that he is related to the two in that way, that would be an interesting way to have the two stories tied together, but not realizing that they're connected until the end. Just
Yeah,
a thought.
yeah. And it's possible because they're going to be in different countries. So there is a disconnect already.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
also think it's interesting because I wouldn't have thought of you in this way because I think we're all still teenagers, our generation, but you bringing in your son, I'm like, oh, you technically are the middle generation. So
Yeah,
have
and
a
I
lot of
was,
insight. Yeah.
because I mean, the modern day one is also me, but I was a young boy when the middle generation happened, but there's an overlap, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm old. I'm older than the modern day character, and I'm a little bit younger than the father. So I'm kind of one foot on each side as well, generationally.
Let's find out if there's anything more that they want to share. I don't know if Charlie is lurking around wanting to pounce and give good advice.
No, Charlie's nowhere to be seen now. Definitely Nini is the spirit guide, and even Steve, which I jokingly call our hawk that I see all the time, and the cardinals. Like none of them are here in this space, but it's Neen. Like she's that spirit. I can feel her, and it makes sense. I mean, she was by my side, for over 10 years. So
Well, let's ask Nini, what else should James know about the story, the characters, anything that will be helpful to him?
what I'm getting is a sense of don't hang on so hard to the way they all tie together that I've used up to this point. So
Yeah.
it's a good thing. Just kind of release my grip on the story a bit and let it shape shift and see which other perspectives I can have on the same important things, but you know, flip the Rubik's Cube a few times.
It's not that different than worrying about a child, where it's like some concern is good, but too much and gripping too tight isn't
Mm.
helpful to either party.
Well, I think the reason why it's become such a focus is if written properly and not if, when turned into a TV show or a film, everyone's talking about this film at the moment, the Sound of Freedom, I think it's called, about the
Yeah, yeah.
that's exactly it. People are having conversations, people are being made aware. So that's kind of the impact that I want this to have on the world. But that excuse me, But that's later. That's not now. So I think I'm thinking a little too extrinsically and focusing on the importance rather than just submitting to the creative process at the moment.
Yeah. What if we do both? What if we have in the front of your mind and your heart the creative process, knowing that it's kind of like if you do if you work out today, you know that the abs are coming, but you don't worry about the abs on the very day. Does that make
Yes,
sense?
it does.
Yeah. So how about if we call an energy for both, for the creative process now, but then also the big picture energy that is coming? Want to do it?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just ask Mimi, do we call them in simultaneously, the current energy and the future energy, or do we do one at a time?
One at a time. First, it felt like it was both, but yeah, I feel like there's a sense of creative first.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and invite that energy to flow in into every part of you that will be helpful. So your mind, your heart, your hands, whatever will be helpful. Invite that energy to flow in all the way. And just let me know when complete.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
Good.
Is the throat clearing just regular physical throat clearing, or does it feel energetic?
I think it's just physical.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I start to get the throat tingles, then we're definitely going to call in your soul to talk. So, okay, now let's go ahead and call in the energy for that near future, that big film presence where even more people become aware.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
Good.
And so you might already have the answer to this, but I just want to double check. You were mentioning earlier, why should the reader care? You feel like you already have the answer, or shall we find out more about that?
I feel this different way of looking at it might answer that question. Or let me rephrase that. One of the scenarios would answer that question, because the reader would care about each individual piece. I know that, because these are, stories that are going to hit home. I really believe that. But as far as kind of leading them through the story, this different way of looking could, in theory, make the present and the origin two protagonists. And so you're following them on their parallel paths until that moment you realize they intersect.
Yeah.
And then with their meeting, okay, here's another aha moment. Only when they meet are they both able to start unpacking, the thing beneath the thing.
Yeah.
So what if something completely unrelated brought them together and they didn't even realize that they were related? Oh, there you go.
More goosebumps.
Because there's an object that I just kind of stumbled across that the modern day person could have, but have no idea what it is and where it came from. And that would take them on a journey to find out and lead them to the grandfather. So that could actually work.
So is the son like a historian or a journalist or something along
No,
those lines?
he's a firefighter. So
Oh, okay, love it.
yeah. No, I wanted to make the modern day a firefighter because there's not a lot of good stuff, especially almost none on the screen.
Mhm.
There are some good ones, like Only the Brave and Ladder 49, excellent in movies, for example. But even the shows, with all the good intention, they get kind of Hollywoodized and they lose their rawness.
Yeah,
So I wanted it to be, a raw modern day firefighter, but doesn't mean they can't be curious about something and then find themselves down a very obscure path.
very true. Also, let's be honest, everybody likes firefighters. We like you guys. So that's
There's
another
not,
reason that the reader would care. You're
yeah,
right.
and there's not a lot of us in entertainment, you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
it's a strange thing. Everyone seems to admire the profession, but when it comes to storytelling, there's very, very few stories out there.
Backdraft was huge. Everybody loved that.
And at the time, it was a good film for the time. When you
Yeah.
are a firefighter, it's like watching a cop show being a cop. I'm sure it's, cringy, but Backdraft has always been revered. Backdraft 2 was by far one of the worst films ever made. If anyone happens to be listening to this, do not watch Backdraft 2. You lose an hour and a half of your life. You never get back. But the first one was good. But that's pretty much it. Those three. So I think Backdraft was in the 90s, early 90s. So you're talking 3 decades. You've got 3 firefighter films. That's it.
Yeah. We definitely need another firefighter protagonist.
Well,
Well,
and just
it will appeal
the
to the
way that we
ladies as well. So
said it again.
it will appeal to the ladies as well. You're gonna have mass appeal.
Well, also just the way we see the world is how it actually is. And I've talked about this on the podcast, whether it's addiction or gangs or obesity or whatever it is, the politicians and the drug commercials, and they can, your physicians, they can all tell you one thing, but we see how it actually is, so there is no filter for what a first responder sees. So there's a lot of value in seeing the world through a firefighter and a paramedic's eyes, because, you know, there's no sheen to it. You know, if it's good, then it's good, great. But if it's, you know, if it's not, then it's not. So I think it's an important perspective for readers or viewers to really understand.
Well, that makes me think about something else that you brought up earlier, which is that first person perspective, right? So we know that you definitely have it for the son, the firefighter. Do you want any insights into the first person perspective of the grandfather or the father?
You mean like in this session?
Yeah, like just in case they want to bring anything in that will be helpful for you to realize.
Um, I think the grandfather, I've done so much research. I've sat in that place. You know, we tried to access that the first time. I don't think so. And then the middle one, it's there's not really even a character there yet for me to tap into.
Okay.
So I'd say no. I think some of these kind of more general aha moments will lead to that when the time is right.
Got it. And I'm looking at our list that we created. I think we've covered everything. Are you still feeling good about the September 9 first draft deadline?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm excited to kind of explore some of these new ideas now, and that's it. You know, I mean, the building blocks are there. It's just, you know, arranging them and really solidifying, you know, not just one story, but the sub stories as well. So, and you know, September 9th gives me enough time to get it done.
Are you still doing the 2 hours of writing in the morning?
It shifted a bit because some of the advice I got from my friends were to create boards and do some other things. I'm going to write summary. So it's not actually writing, because sometimes, you know, I wrote and wrote to the point where I'm like, where does this all connect? And so then writing seems silly until I figure that out. So it's literally, I was joking with Becky, it's like those, again, cop dramas where they're staring at that board with all the pieces of string, you know,
Yeah.
attaching suspects to each other and victims and everything. It's that phase, the staring at the board phase. But this is why, you know, I was so excited to do this again, because I feel like, you know, some of the things that we've touched on they're going to lead to the way it's supposed to be, and then the writing will flow again.
Yeah. Good for you. I'm excited for all of the the strings to weave the full story together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we have a couple more minutes. Do you want to spend some more time with Nini? And then when that feels complete, just let me know.
Honestly, I mean, I think she's already gone. I think, you know, it's kind of my work is done kind of thing. So I feel like kind of quite content now, actually.
Oh, good. Does this feel like a good time to come back?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So before we bring it back, go ahead and send a lot of love, a lot of gratitude to Nini and all of the inspiration that came in. And then allow Nini and all of your spirit friends and your soul to reciprocate and to send their love, their appreciation to you as well, knowing that they're always supporting you and rooting for you. And just let me know when that feels complete.
Okay.
Good. And beginning the process of coming back now, this time, this place, knowing that when you come back, all of your day-to-day activities will return to normal, We'll return just like you're used to, driving, grocery shopping, dialing phone numbers. And you'll also come back in a way where this access, all of this beautiful feeling, all of this creative energy, all of it will stay open and really happy and positive at whatever percentage feels good to you. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Great. And so beginning the process of coming back now to this time, this place, the cozy chair underneath you, returning your focus to your body and your breathing. And now while you focus on your breathing, really feeling the vivacious energy, the enlivening energy, the enthusiastic energy that flows in with each in-breath, and taking 2, 3, or 4 really exciting, really enthusiastic in-breaths, and then opening your eyes, wide awake and alert, and all the way back now. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you. How are you feeling?
That was, so let me just write it down a second before I forget.
Take your time.
Okay.
That was nice.
Yeah, that was really good. It did just kind of open things up a little bit. And it's funny because with the guilt thing, with seemingly tapping into my son, it definitely brought some of those emotions that actually started kind of welling up slightly at that point. So yeah, and it came out of nowhere, but that was a thing. And that situation, should never have happened. And it was some people in positions of power that abused their power and, put him in a very bad situation for a few days. So yeah, that definitely came out of left field, as they say.
Everything is okay now?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
this was a few years ago now,
Okay.
but yeah.
I like that Nini, she knows what she's doing.
Mhm.
Like, we need to go this
Yeah,
fast.
no, it was, I was trying to be open to seeing other things, but it wasn't. It was her, but she's, she was my ride and die. So
I love that you guys get to visit each other in this way, where it's different, but pretty cool. It's like really awesome.
yeah.
Does she hold on to the fake loophole wings the whole time, or just when she pops in?
Well, when she's close, she's just, her face. But yeah, it's literally, I have this image, again, it's not, as you know, a lot of these aren't like super clear, psychedelic images, but yeah, literally just her with her tongue hanging out, looking happy with these wings on. Like, I gamed the system.
They like nailed it. So cute. At some point, you need to send me a picture of her because I feel like I'm getting to know her and she's really cute and sweet.
Yeah, my wife called Disney princess eyes because for a shepherd she had really big eyes as well. She was an absolute sweetheart. So
That's so
so
sweet.
yeah, she's missed.
Well, I'm glad that she gets to still come back and visit. It's really nice.
Yes. Yeah, and I still feel her. Like my shepherd now, she'll just take off and start running like crazy in the backyard. And so in my mind, she's chasing Nini or being chased by Nini. So
There's a good chance. Big ears chasing big ears.
yeah, exactly.
Well, is there anything else that you wanted to chat about or ask me about, or shall we just look forward to the next one? I'm excited to, like, for me, this feels like such a privilege to be witness to the aha moments. And I'm like, when do we do it again?
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. I mean, it really kind of took me away, can't see the wood for the trees, as they say, and pulled me back and, got me to look at some different ways. And yeah, I'm thinking, well, there's this person and there's this person, there's this person, but they don't even have to know each other at that point. You know what I mean? Maybe they
Yeah.
discover what happened, So I don't know. We'll see, because if yeah, I mean, my brain's just turning over now, but yeah, this is exciting because now I've got ideas of I'm sure anyone that's out there has tried to write something. They talk about the blank page or the flashing cursor. It's a real
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah. So now you've got ideas, and again, it's not like I'm going to go and write right now, but just let it permeate and yeah, play with it, because I had a very linear two-dimensional story of which elements are, I think are going to be excellent, but it's the complex, layering and interweaving of stories that really makes it compelling. So it's definitely given me some ideas.
I'm going to be cracking up throughout the whole day about the idea of you putting the things on the board and the strings attaching.
Mhm.
Like, no,
I'll
James.
show you. Look, that's the board, and then there's another. I don't know if you can see. There's a board with pictures all over it there. So yeah, it's like a
That's
crime
so much
scene.
more organized than what I'm imagining.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it hasn't got all those because you're supposed to have it in sequence, but yeah, this, staring at it didn't do anything, but because it's the way that a book is supposed to be laid out. But now it's going to change it a lot, which is going to make it a lot more exciting. So yeah, we definitely had a breakthrough today, Courtney. So thank you.
Of course, you're very welcome. And then also know that whenever you're sitting with the board, etc., that you can use the hypnotic ideas. And while you're sitting there, just go, okay, I know that there's something here and it can present itself to me, and just let it come in. So, because you've got the muscle memory now for this type of receiving.
Yeah.
Do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And then do you want to go ahead? Well, anything more for the recording, or should I stop the recording?
No, I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stop the recording.